Chelsea Football Club are hilarious because Mauricio Pochettino and Paul Winstanley are at the Brighton stand watching the Brighton game. Are you really taking your main chick to go scout her potential replacement? Paul Winstanley, you are putting Pochettino in a horrible situation. But all jokes aside, we get the truth about why they were there. Pochettino confirms it in today's video. Then we get some positive news regarding injuries for once. Like, the injury list is shrinking, and I've got a whole host of updates from Mauricio Pochettino's press conference for the Leicester versus Chelsea preview at Stamford Bridge. I am going to break down that FA Cup tie. And finally, Chelsea yesterday sent shockwaves down the media. Chelsea said apparently they're going to buy 2 to 3 players under 23 in every position. That's the dream. I'm going to explain to you why that's nonsense, it can't work. And finally, we do get the targets apparently from the same source that Chelsea are going to be going after for the centre-back positions this year. An 18-year-old, a 20-year-old and a 25-year-old. I'll break them down, I'll explain which one I would prefer, and then more importantly, we're going to have a little bit more clarity and some calm nature to our fan base. Because at the moment, I think everything's too volatile. I genuinely believe everyone's getting triggered at every article, everyone's getting frustrated with every single detail said, and I think it's because our rivals are doing well. And that's why I think everyone's so triggered, and we are doing horribly. But I'm going to be here to be the bearer of good news for one day, okay? So I need you lot to hit the like button. I want around about 750 likes. That's the best way you can support the channel. So do it now and tell me what number like you are. And number 2, we are so close to 33,000. We're like 50 people away. So can you please subscribe if you're new? It's really supports the channel. And now let's start with the news. So I want to start talking about what happened yesterday at the Brighton game, because Chelsea executive Paul Winstanley, the sporting director, was sitting next to Mauricio Pochettino at the Amex Stadium. They were sitting there and they were watching Brighton and Roma play out a 1-0 victory to Brighton. And Twitter went mad. Like, people are like, this is ridiculous. What are they doing at this game? And I had to be me, and guys, the way you need to look at me is, I like to make a lot of jokes. And I literally said, Mauricio Pochettino is basically the main chick for Paul Winstanley, and now they're going to scout who his next main chick's going to become, and Pochettino is going to get replaced. That's literally what I said. That tweet done really well. People loved it. They thought it was hilarious. But today, Pochettino gave us the real reason. And if we all used our brains, which sometimes we find it difficult, we would have known the answer, right? Why they were there. Chelsea are playing Brighton in the next few weeks, and Pochettino said we were there to scout the team. You don't have the opportunity to go to as many games in person and look at the way teams build up play and be there in person to actually analyze it. Everything's over footage, and it's nice to be at the stadium. And honestly, I think this is wonderful. I think more of the old school nature of being there as a manager should be happening. Like, given they have the time constraints, because obviously we all have 24 hours in a day, and he's doing coaching sessions, he's on the phone, because it's no longer the same role, right, as it once was, where literally you have your coaches take the training sessions, you can go and scout players, like you have multifaceted roles. Now you're a coach and you deal with everything, and then you report back to the sporting director. So I'm guessing Pochettino's days are like 12 to 13 hours, guaranteed. He said that, he made that clear on many occasions. So I think it's very important, whenever he does get an opportunity, him and Paul Winstanley build up a good relationship. I think that is imperative, because we don't know, right? A lot of us, me included, want Poch gone at the end of the season. We want a new manager, somebody whose football identity we can associate with and we like. Well, at least that's from my perspective. However, if Paul Winstanley and Poch are like good mates and they both agree on the direction Chelsea are going in, and Paul believes Poch is his guy, he's going to keep him. And one way of doing this is by building a good relationship. And it's evident that they're doing this. So what's really nice to hear from Pochettino is that our injury list is actually shrinking, guys. Like, wow, we only have 6 actively injured players. And for most of you, that's gonna be like, yo, that's ridiculous, Alex. We got 6 and you're celebrating. Guys, I'm used to us having 10 to 12. 10 to 12 injuries is absolutely wild, but it's become normal. As a Chelsea fan, for the last 18 months, I am used to having more injured players than fit players that are realistically going to play a role. So now that we've down to 6 is great. So let me tell you the positive. Benoit Badiashile and Ben Chilwell are back in full team training. Carney Chukwuemeka is back in full team training and potentially going to make an appearance in tomorrow's game. We've got Thiago Silva fit, ready to start, and Cucurella had no aggravation after his 80 minutes that he played the other day against Newcastle. Wonderful. This is good news. We're all of a sudden getting the squad back together, the band's getting back together, and hopefully a late push for the 6th and 7th place in the league. I know it's laughable that I'm coming down to the point where I'm saying 6th or 7th. However, we have got some players still injured. Leslie Ogochukwu was pictured in Nigeria a couple days ago at a family do. He's still injured. We got Nkunku still injured. He's not going to be going on international duty. Levi Colwell is still out. We have no clue how long he's going to be out for. We've got Fofana, long-term injury. James returning in April. And Romeo Lavia, early April as well. Good news for them is we've got no game after tomorrow for 2 weeks. Which means more time for them to recover, more time at Cobham, more time for coaching from Mauricio Pochettino, because he needs that coaching. Players can recover. And for me, in the long game, we might get our players back for a run-in. I don't know how effective they're going to be straight out the back, but we will need everyone on our team if we're going to go after that FA Cup, because we have to go for that FA Cup. The win on Sunday is imperative. We have to win, because if we don't win, the questions for the next 2 weeks, Maurizio, are going to be, when's Pochettino getting sacked? Who could be the interim? Is he going to get sacked? And the meltdown is going to be unreal. And I'm going to be leading the charge because I can't take us losing to a championship side. You already know my view on it. Come the sacking, come the 1st of June, Mr. Maurizio Pochettino, pack your bags up, geezer, and go out of... That is my opinion. I'm not redacting it. We won the other day. I was happy and people are like, oh, so are you Poch now? Well, no, don't be silly. Poch in after one victory. Poch can win the remainder of his games this year, all of them completely very comfortably, right? And win the cup final. I promise you, I will only then start going, But what happened in the other games, Poch? Because the reality is, the season's been so catastrophic that we can win every game from now till the end of the season and we still wouldn't make top 5. And that's the damage, right? Imagine the run we'd have to go on for us to even finish in a respectable position. It is embarrassing. So that's why Pochettino's got a lot of development to do before I'd trust him again. Nazir Kinsella is a very interesting Chelsea source, right? Because I always say he gets second-hand information from people. However, the issue is sometimes it's super accurate, sometimes it's absolute rubbish. Absolute, blasphemous, made-up nonsense. So we don't know what tier source he is, right? Sometimes it'll be absolutely amazing information where we're like, rah, only he said it. And then it's like, well, you're not right. Remember the Saudi takeover, right? It's like, yeah, Chelsea is selecting the Saudi deal. They're in pole position. Then rumors came out that the Saudis weren't even in the running. But yet we had multiple sources saying different things. And that is frustrating. So when he comes out and says Chelsea's dream and Iqbali's dream is to have 2 to 3 great young talents in every position, I tell you, that's impossible. Because let me give you an example, right? At the moment, we've got Caicedo, Enzo, Gallagher, Levi Colwell and Carney Chukwuemeka. Are you really telling me there's space for Andreas Santos and Cassidy? No. That's why Gallagher's going to leave. And guess what? This is why I think Cassidy is most probably going to leave, or Santos is going to leave in the summer, or Carney is going to leave. Because you can't have 5 players for 2 positions. You can't do it. It's impossible. And this is why I say, when you read these stories, think what it means. We already have Gusto and James. Do you really think if both of them were fit and healthy, raring to go, you could sustain both of them in one squad? No, you can't, because both will want to play. The reason it works with James and Gusto is because James is consistently injured. So Gusto gets runs of games to develop himself. What you need is players that can play in multiple positions and a squad of around 15 that knows they're going to play with a bunch of youngsters that are developing once these ones are ready to play. And then the youngsters come in and they get adding to the squad. So what's going to be good is hopefully in 2 years time when Enzo's 24, Caicedo's 25, you got Gusto 25, James 29, Palmer 25. You've got a bunch of players that are coming into their prime. Yet then you have youngsters coming through. Putting youngsters with youngsters is not going to work. Youngsters squares is not going to work. I promise you right now. You're just literally going to have youngsters blocking youngsters from pathway. It won't work, and I think this is ridiculous. And this is where I'm getting frustrated with the news that has come out about the centre halves, because Thiago Silva's going. We've got that basically all but confirmed. We know Thiago's not going to stay. So who have we been linked with? We've been linked with Lenny from, I think it's Lille. I remember seeing that kid. I really hope I'm talking about the same kid. I remember seeing him. He was 16 when he made his debut. It was like 2 seasons ago. And this kid looked sick. Like, I looked at him. I was like, wow, this kid can't be like really like this composed, this talented. And he has a good frame as well. He's a tall kid. I was like, he's going to be unbelievable. And you know what? I'm really shocked that he hasn't made a move to another club just yet. I thought someone would have poached him. But he's been getting regular minutes at Lille. He's developed into a decent little midfield centre-back. And what I think is absolutely interesting is Chelsea are willing to go after him now because he's on their shortlist. But Madrid are interested. So I think if Madrid want him, they're going to get him. Like, they've got the perfect scenario with Rudiger, Militao. Like, that's just going to work. Because all of a sudden, there's a nice rotation there. You got Alaba to come in if needed. You got Nacho there if needed, and he's going to get another year contract. And you just see, right, the experience around the kid. He's going to get appearances here and there. Get your ass on the bench. The Camavinga development, the Tchouaméni development, the Bellingham development, the Valverde development. You've seen it, right? Bellingham technically came in straight away, but the others didn't. They waited their time. They developed. They learned to play for Madrid when it was relevant. Then we've got 2 other alternatives. Ousmane Diamonde, which is an Ivory Coast international, plays for Sporting. He plays in the middle of the back 3, and he's linked. He's going to cost around 60 million euro. And for me, what really frustrates me about this move actually is that he's 20 years old. So once again, we're replacing a 39-year-old with a 20-year-old. And there is going to be this age-old argument, personally. I think that, well, you know what? We got the Sassy. Technically, he's going to become the seasoned vet. And then we've got Levi Colwell, who's played around about 60 games in his career now. So he's more developed. Fofana should be back next year. He's more developed. Badiashile is more developed. So we can afford to get a 20-year-old. I don't think it works like that, man. I really don't think it works. I think you don't need just experience. You need good experience. You need players, not like Raheem Sterling at this moment in time. Raheem Sterling's got experience, but he isn't ready to give any of it back. He looks like a finished player, and it's really frustrating because I think there is still a level of player in him, but we're not seeing it. So I can't even give him that credit. And then the final one is Jean-Claude Todibo. And Todibo is going to cost around 50 million euros, 50 million pounds, or somewhere in and around that range. That's what different articles are saying. But for me, he's a good player. And whether he's good enough to join us now and whether he's good enough to come in and be a leader, I am yet to be convinced, purely based on the fact I don't watch Nice. I really don't. So I find it very difficult to judge him, but the reputation around this kid is marvelous. He had some injury problems before, but now he's really developed into a fine player. That's what the articles have said that I've read about. So I just think we need to be honest and transparent with our thought process in regards to the players that we're linked with, and also understand that Chelsea's easy clicks. Like, let's be honest, right? Whenever a journalist writes about, oh, this player's linked with Chelsea, good or bad, it's getting good clicks. If it's a player that no one likes, getting clicks because of hate clicks. If it's a player that everyone likes, everyone's excited thinking we're going to sign him. We're a big club, and that's what comes with the avenue of a big club. People want to care about you. People care about you. And I think Chelsea need to ensure that they remain a big club, because the minute we stop being a big club, there is a problem. And there is a problem that we're not going to be able to fix instantaneously. But all I'm going to say to you lot is hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and now go across and watch a pro versus con, De Zerbi and Amorim. And right here on the bottom, please go and watch my last match review of the Newcastle game. I think you're going to enjoy it. It was me being positive. It was me propping up a lot of our players. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Peace out, I'm out.